right, let's move on with this. How's it going? Hello, hello. It has been quite some time since I've done one of these. Well, actually, yeah, it's been a year since I've done one of these, since I've done a live stream for the podcast. But here we are, and this is mostly just a sort of, it's gonna be fast because it's 3 a.m. and I got work tomorrow and all that stuff. But it's mainly going to be just, sort of go through the stuff of the hiatus and shit. It wasn't planned or anything, but let me just lower this a little bit because it's going to be lower for the audience because ducking, but it's still going to distract me a little bit. But anywho, so basically I guess one of the reasons why I stopped making episodes and stuff was the incapability of keeping the website going and stuff that kind of like demotivated me a lot. And throughout that period of time when I stopped doing episodes and stuff, I was going through some stuff mentally. And the reason is that when you are about to reach 30 years old and you do not have a single thing, well, I kind of had the internet built in my name. I wasn't paying it, and that's not good enough. But when you're about to reach 30 years old and you don't have a single thing to your name, it makes you think. It makes you use your brain, and it makes you go into like this sort of emotional or whatever state where you're thinking constantly, what the hell am I doing? What is my purpose? Why am I here? Why am I constantly being a parasite, to the people that care about me and stuff? And that's essentially what led to me just, stopping to do these kinds of things. Because it's one thing when you're feeling sort of, I don't think realized is the word. I'm gonna put it like satisfied, I guess. But when you're feeling somewhat satisfied with your life, you got a job, you got some stability, you got independence, you're on your own. And for some people, maybe they will think, wow, dude, you had food cooked for you or bought for you. You had, a decent enough house that, you could pretty much have all for yourself without paying a single dime. But I wasn't raised like that. I wasn't raised to be a piece of shit, just sitting around doing absolutely nothing. I had to do something. I had to have some form of independence. I had to have some form of being able to earn money and do whatever the hell I wanted with that money. And so that is one of the reasons why I stopped doing the episodes and doing it as frequently as I was. I also hit kind of a roadblock where I was trying to evolve the episodes from me just grabbing someone random and just talking about it without having something planned before jumping into recording. Because I don't think that's just, it's definitely authentic, but I do not have the skills to just sit there and talk like that. I really don't. You know what I mean? I don't have the skills to just write some bullet points and stuff and go through all that kind of stuff and be very eloquent, concise, and just straight to the point. I just start jumping to tangents and I just start talking about all kinds of things that matter to no one and no one gives a damn. So my plan was I started grabbing some individuals that I wanted to talk about fucked up individuals. You know what I mean? Because looking at the analytics, that's what people want to fucking listen to or watch things about. It is what it is. And you can see the state of the world today. I mean, some of the most popular videos that adults would watch, I'm not talking about kids' videos, but some of the most popular videos for adults is quite literally true crime, for the most part, body cam videos. Those are really jumping into popularity like crazy. So, and also, yeah, sort of people grabbing these individuals that are just messed up and stuff, and committing all of these sometimes crimes, sometimes I guess they're like misdemeanors or something. Other times, you know, just straight up like being weird, you know, not necessarily committing anything, but just being weird. And I remember one of these individuals that I wanted to cover back then was Jared, I think. And the dude had like some really strange takes about like ages of consent and things like that. And I wanted to cover it. And that's when I hit kind of a roadblock, because I was like trying to research information about this dude. And I was trying to write something that would be compelling to listen to and or watch. And yeah, I was just like, you know, and then if you basically grab all of these things, such as the not feeling good enough about myself because I've got nothing going on. I'm about to reach 30 years old and got nothing, you know, and the roadblock and just all of the bullshit combined really led to not a very good experience mentally. So yeah, that's pretty much what happened there. But in 2022, my life turned around and I finally managed to get a job. I was more excited about the job when I got it. I will be honest. I think this is kind of a common thing for a lot of people. When it's the first time you get to the job and it's new and it's exciting and stuff, and you're, hell yeah, we're discovering things, we're getting to the thick of it and stuff. But then it's just getting to that repetition and your brain just feels like, fuck, dude, every day is the same thing. Every day is the same thing. The same thing. It's just repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Sorry about that. My fan has the thingy that holds it. It's, who gives a shit, right? There I was about to go on a tangent that no one cares about. But anyways, the mic probably didn't even get that. Anyways, as I was saying, jobs and stuff, it just gets repetitive. It's just the same thing over and over and over again, and it just gets boring. So I'm not too excited about it. To be fair, I hope that by the time I'm done with my vacation, I come back fresh and I'm not going to be as frustrated at the job as I am right now, because it's been a significant amount of months. And also, you know, if another company drops me like a proposition and this proposition ends up being better than what I have right now, I'm not going to say no. I'm going to go for it. But it has to be better than what I have right now in either schedules, because right now I haven't had a weekend since March. It's always been, I have days off like weekends, but it's not on the weekend. And I hate that shit, because it, as someone who likes concerts and things, it's really, really, really damaging my ability to, you know, enjoy life in that regards, right? So I hate that. And also that I've been working night shifts since May, and it sucks ass. Just absolutely sucks ass. I hate working during nighttime. You know, it just feels like nighttime is I don't know. I'm weird. I'm a weird motherfucker, but it feels to me like nighttime is usually the time when you just relax, you play some games, you watch some stuff, whatever it is that your preference in terms of hobbies or entertainment consumption. You grab a beer, glass of wine, rum, whiskey, whatever the hell is your preference in terms of beverages, and you just chill. And that's usually what I like to do when I'm working, like, you know, the morning shifts. But the night shifts is just like you finish at midnight, and it's like, I don't know, it feels like I have no time for anything, because from midnight until 1 a.m. I typically like to, you know, just relax a little bit for that hour, and then 1 a.m. I try to start the stream for like gaming and shit. You can check it at, I got 2 channels. I got the Eldritch Big channel, and I also have the Runus Assassins channel. The Runus Assassins channel was meant to be a Portuguese stream specifically, but eventually it ended up sort of like getting people who didn't speak Portuguese, so I ended up just doing English, because why not? Fuck it, whatever. But yeah, so going back to the changes and stuff. So in 2022, I got a job finally, and I had to move away from Portugal. I am now living in Bulgaria. Great country, by the way. Lovely people, great food, great drinks, great prices in terms of beer and tobacco, but everything else is getting very expensive, and I do not like it because the salary doesn't go up. But yeah, so I moved here in 2022, and I started working. And now, you know, like I said previously, it's not like I'm incredibly happy or like woohoo, I'm ecstatic that I have a job and stuff, because it's becoming repetitive, and it's becoming like, I feel like I have no control over anything during that period of time, and it's 8 hours, so it's a long time to not have control over anything. And you know, the schedules are trash. I'm always being shoved into shit schedules, and it's player support, so it's a game that a lot of kids play, and it's mostly kids contacting, and then when it's parents contacting, they're also idiots, and they don't understand a single fucking instruction that I'm sending them, and I'm trying to be easy to understand. I'm not trying to be like, you know, a techie freak geek that just talks like talks almost in binary, you know what I'm saying? No, I'm trying to be like, I understand not everyone understands this kind of stuff, and so you have to make it a little bit simpler for them. But yeah, that part is getting very repetitive, very annoying. But I will go on vacation this month, in about like 18 days or some shit. On the 20th of August, I'm gonna take two weeks off. Hopefully that will refresh me. Hopefully that will be good enough for me to come back and not feel incredibly like frustrated at the job. Because and honestly, I've complained so many times to those motherfuckers that I hate that schedule, you know, and they just keep putting me on it. You know what I mean? They just keep putting me on it. It's like, and I see motherfuckers in the company that are getting a bit of a variation much more than I am. And I'm like, are they special? You know, like, I think if I was that bad at the job so that they just shove me to the corner and it's like I'm the only one who gets the shittiest schedules possible, I think if I was doing that terribly, I think they would just fire me. Why the fuck would you keep me in the team? Why would you still hire me? You know, if I'm doing that terribly, right? I think it's just because I'm not that person that complains outside of when I'm having a meeting with my team lead. I just don't complain to anybody else. But maybe I'll start complaining to other people because it's just like, it's pathetic. You know? It's it ruins productivity. Like, I just really don't feel like giving my all to it because I don't feel like they're giving me anything back. They're just, you know, and they're paying the bare minimum they can fucking pay. So it's like very annoying. But anyways, so that's sad, considering that, you know, I am now in a better state mentally. I'm now in better conditions. In better conditions because now I am independent. Now I do what I want. Now I am awake whenever I want. I kind of did the same thing back home, not gonna lie. But now it's different, you know, because besides the schedule for work, it's just, you know, I have no one else, right? Because I was living in my grandfather's place and he could go to his house whenever the fuck he wanted. He wasn't necessarily living there, but he could go there whenever the fuck he wanted. Totally understandable. Granted, it was his house. Regarding the podcast, the YouTube channel, and all that stuff. So, part of the reason I didn't start doing this a little bit earlier was because, well, first of all, kind of conditions. They were very limited. It wasn't until last year in May that I got like a proper desk, right? But then I had the proper desk, but I didn't have a decent computer to do the whole thing of going to Photoshop, going to Audition, recording Audition, make sure the sound is good enough to publicize or to release to the public, and make sure I have all of the things on Photoshop and stuff, like the thumbnails I was doing. I'm actually very proud of those thumbnails. I hope they're good enough, you know, to for people. I'm actually, you know, I'm not a graphic designer or anything of sorts, but I was actually quite proud of those thumbnails. And so I want to kind of keep the theme going because it's a theme, right? There is a theme. All of the thumbnails are going to be the same. It's just the only thing that's going to change is basically the descriptive image, if you will, and the color of the outer square thingy line, if you will, whatever, and the triangles, and that's the thing that's going to change in terms of color and stuff. But the theme, the design itself is going to remain the same, so that it's easy to identify, and it's, yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I wanted to do something a little more slick because I had the initial episode thumbnails were horrible. The second episode thumbnails were a bit better, but they were still not very informative. They were informative, but they were not well spaced, if that makes sense. They were all in the center, and you could use the whole space of the square for the thumbnail, and I wasn't using any of it. So yeah, I just want to basically try to use as much as possible to hold as much information as possible to make it concise as to what exactly am I getting into by clicking this episode. So that's one of the goals with these thumbnail changes. Another thing that kind of killed my mood was not being able, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I don't think I did. But another thing that killed my mood to keep going with the podcast was the website. I couldn't afford it anymore. The domain, that is. I couldn't afford it anymore, so I ended up losing the fucking domain. Now I thought, okay, I'll lose the domain, but whenever I can, I will just buy it again. Well, you do have some months, like I think 3 or 4 months or something like that, that you have that grace period that even though you're not paying, you can still, they sort of keep the domain for you. But once those months are gone, the domain is just freed and anyone can grab it. So the problem with that shit is some Chinese motherfucker grabbed the goddamn domain, and it's probably one of those shady motherfuckers who are just looking for domains which had some form of traffic, and they just yoink the domains and they just say, all right, you want this domain back? Pay us and we'll sell you the domain back. So I'm not doing that. First of all, I don't want to pay those motherfuckers. Second of all, I probably don't have the money that they're probably asking for that shit. And yeah, it's not really that big of a deal. I did like having a website for the podcast. It did make it feel a little bit more professional and a little bit more, what's the word? A little bit more real. I don't know if that makes sense. You know, but yeah, it was pretty neat having the website. Took care of all of that shit myself, using a builder, of course, but all of the shit was done by myself. So yeah, it sucks losing that shit. It was a nice part of the whole thing, especially because I could create these subdomains of other links, and I could basically just redirect. So I could do something like, you know, Spotify has like a very strange link and shit, because it's just, you know, there's a lot of podcasts, there's a lot of music, and they just have to be like a bunch of digits and shit to identify that specific page and stuff. But the subdomains were cool because you could make it https://spotify.grindersverdict.com. It's an easy to remember link. Give me a second. Okay. It's a relatively easy to remember link, and so I liked doing that because it allowed people to, if they wanted to, they could easily find the stuff. But I think the way stuff is promoted these days and stuff, I think coming back to it, it's not having a website is not going to affect it that much. And who knows, maybe they eventually give up the domain because no one is wanting to grab it and stuff, so no attention for it, and maybe the domain eventually gets released, because they're not making money from me, that's for sure. And the domain is very specific, so yeah. But so I, a few, like 1 or 2 weeks ago, I was looking throughout the websites that I have for the podcast and stuff, and I found the thumbnails for the YouTube videos, and I could basically grab the thumbnail changer thingy, editor, whatever you want to call it. You could open that up, and then you can open the image in a new tab, so it gets like bigger. So I did that. I grabbed all of the compliments and all of the little things I had there, and I try to replicate it using Photoshop on the new computer that I have. So I got the thumbnails down, so that's pretty cool. And now all I have to do is figure out what to talk about. And there's plenty to talk about, because I used to do a podcast that was basically very covering a lot of shit. So it's not that difficult to find stuff to talk about. But I also don't want to just be doing something without any sort of quality, because I feel like that's just cheap and boring, and you know, no one's gonna pay attention to that. And it's like, it's ultimately it's going to be a hobby, but I don't want it to be a hobby that just destroys time and never gives anything back. Because I already did that shit for almost 10 years. I did an online radio station for 9 years, and that never gave me anything back. I mean, okay, the band's appreciating the stuff, that it was truthful, that when we had interviews and shit, it wasn't controlled, it wasn't, we're sponsored by this, we're sponsored by that, so you can't say this, you can't say that. No, with my online radio, it was, brother, say what's in your mind, fucking let it out, it's cool. And bands appreciated that. We had plenty of decent names participating in it, and it was pretty cool. I really liked it. But it wasn't even giving me money, it was just paying for itself. As long as it paid for itself, that would have been fantastic, but it wasn't even doing that, so yeah. And I also sucked ass to find, because man, like today, watching YouTube videos and shit, the amount of sponsors they have, like the radio wasn't doing bad. It was a relatively niche thing, but it wasn't doing bad. It was ranging between like 50 listeners to 100, 150 on a daily basis. That's not bad at all. That's not bad at all. So if I had the tools that these people have these days to find sponsorships and shit, oh man, I could have kept that going and probably make it much better and everything. And I also had ideas of bringing it back at some point, but there's too much going on, and I have to choose one to focus on. I do want to keep streaming video games and things like that, and reactions and shit, because by doing so it helps with, or it gives you the ability to basically just grab clips from said stream and post it and stuff like that, and it's kind of cool, and you can make videos and shit. But I just thought, I love that podcast. I loved doing that podcast. The podcast was fun as fuck, and I want to believe that it is trying to do good, and if it's trying to do good, why should I stop it? So to basically wrap it up, I'm not going to keep this going too much longer, but basically to wrap it up, the goal now is to go around, try to find something to talk about, a couple of subjects, try to write something that is going to be, well, it's going to be, for me anyways, at least, interesting to hear and shit. Practice it a little bit so it doesn't sound like I'm literally reading. I will be reading, but it just doesn't sound like I'm reading. You have to practice a little bit for that shit. And then just go for it, bring back the fucking podcast, upload the episode to podcasters or Spotify for podcasters, because Anchor is gone and all that stuff. Now it's just Spotify for podcasters. But yeah, it works, and upload it there, and make a video as well. I'm gonna see if I make an actual video with like maybe a little bit of editing and stuff like that, or just the thumbnail in the background or something else. I don't know. But yeah, those are the goals. That's the intention. I just wanted to come here live for a little bit to just say that I'm not dead, still alive. The podcast is not dead. The podcast still shall keep going. And all of the people that still listen to the episodes and stuff to this day, it has been a while since I've done the last one. I appreciate the fuck out of you. All the people that supported the podcast throughout the years and stuff like that. I also appreciate the fuck out of you. And I hope you can continue to find value, because that's the whole thing that I'm trying to give here. I hope you can find value in whatever shape or form it may be from the podcast. And the value I'm going to try to provide the most is information, but also the truth. Nothing else but the truth. Ultimately, the truth. And that's the goal for that shit. Right? So, with that said, I'm going to call it here. I'm going to chill for a little bit before going to bed. Tomorrow is another day of work. Put up with kids and stupid parents and whatnot. But it is what it is, you know. We have to earn it to keep going. Right? But yeah, if you by any chance would like to drop by other shit I do, I tend to live stream on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/RunuSuccessius. It's fucking difficult to spell it. But what you can do that is even easier is in the description of this video, live stream, whatever it is that you're checking out, is a Discord link. This Discord is it's a community Discord. It's for my other Twitch channel, which is supposed to be my main channel. But I have sort of anxiety doing shit on that channel at this point. Because I've actually managed to do something with it and be affiliate and shit. And I just, you know, I'm afraid of doing live streams there, because then people will just unfollow and shit, and it just regresses instead of progressing, and you know. But whatever. Nothing changed from when I used to do shit back then when they followed, but for some reason they just choose to unfollow, because I don't know. But anywho, if you'd like to check that out, you can join the Discord. It's pretty empty, it's pretty dead, but you know, hopefully your presence can bring some life to it. That would be awesome. I used to do something kind of cool, I guess, that used to be, you know, we just get together in a Discord channel, nothing new, nothing innovative, but we just get together in a Discord group channel, and we just watch a movie, and we just chat about the movie, we chat about random shit, and I used to love doing that, and I hope I can do that again. So yeah, if you'd like to, I'd appreciate it. If not, it's okay. But it's also the best way to know when I'm going live for other shit, like the Twitch live streams for gaming and stuff. So yeah, definitely would recommend the Discord. I forgot to put that stuff down there. But then again, I mean, it's like, it's not really that important. But yeah, anyway, thank you very much for anybody that spent this little time here with me. I do appreciate it very much. And I hope you have a great one. Thank you very much for supporting. And see you guys on the next one. Keep your ears peeled. Keep your eyes peeled. Or keep your ears open and your eyes peeled. I guess that's the better way to put it. And I'll be trying. I'll do my best, because I suck at social media. But I will do my best to keep you updated on x.com/grindersverdict. I will try to keep you up with the news on there. And yeah, thank you very much. I'll see you guys on the next one. Hope you have a fantastic evening, morning, night, wherever you are. And bye-bye.